Hello everybody, welcome back to From Rhythm to Algorithm. We continue on with our derivation. What is sensorality? So in this episode, we will make some very good progress directly, linguistically, logically, as we do in every episode, but specifically to the word form of sensorality. And so, last episode we derived slang, the slang fundamental theorem of physics. Maximum deceleration is vibration. And so, generally, again, what is slang? Some sort of breaking of grammar, of structured language, but using these order we have to preserve consistency, to have a complete sentence, to make sense, kind of out of order, something to that effect. But regardless, we've been slanging that sensorality, right? If you're moving something, you're slanging it. And so, continuing on, a lapse is a gap. Just another, again, some haphazard theorems to get going. But just another form makes sense. It's a theorem. Iterating progresses. Sensorality is slangality. Sensorality is langality. Sensorality is angality. Ang. Angality, angle. Strangulation tightens. Tightening constricts. Constriction contracts. Getting contracts. Not like getting business contracts, like getting contracts. So all of these, again, all of these theorems are theorems, but we're contracting, constricting our logic, again, to get this definitive definition of sensorality. Constriction, construction. Tension constricts. Constrict, conscript. Like if you get called up into the military, conscription. So now we have memorality is remembering what is right, morality, what is right, immorality is the inability to do what is right. And so again, something about defining these concepts in the negative, then we can create a double negative logically because we don't have this inherent contradiction, and linguistically it produces our next word form. Insensitivity is the inability to sense. Sensorality is inability, just in general. Something I did want to point out, which I thought was funny, because we can't, here in math class, we have to say cohomology like 4 times. And so I Googled it, and I kid you not, I have no idea. When you say cohomology is this, right? We've derived the entire structure of dimensional analysis. This is that. Logically, when you say you're defining words, you're connecting operative base words, right? Running is movement, right? That's true. And we've connected move to run. It's one form of movement is running, and that's more specific than the general concept of movement. And so when you're using different words, you're just scaling up and down specific general. And so cohomology, you're connecting operative words. I have literally no idea what, I just typed it into Google and then I immediately got AIDS and then I clicked out of it because I didn't want to see that heresy anymore. But logically, think about it, right? We've derived right? Why you have cohomology, this fundamental stability of two, because again, we're deriving the structure of language. So it's more poignant to look at, say, the math world invented this nothing burger, but like it's still an attempt at word, and it's going to reflect these logical properties, or these numeric properties even. And so cohomology, to homology, dichotomonistic. Right, so the cohomology, the homology part, it's like 2 to 1, dichotomonistic, 2 things charged, fundamentally stabilizing into one atom, to one thing. And so in the form of cohomology, well, they actually try to say it as mathematically as AIDS, don't even look at it, but you're going from homo, right? And a lot of you guys are doing homologies, that's for sure. But cohomology is 2-1 in the same form of dichotomonistic. But this is, again, back to that logical differentiation. You can't see. All of the words that I'm using are the most efficient words. I could be sitting here using all of the wrong words, transmitting to you correct intuition, and it'd still be not equally as right, but like profoundly correct in all of the ways you're like, what the fuck is going on? But we've derived the actual right words, which is hard for you guys to really see or feel. But the cohomology reflects this dichotomonistic nature of logic. You juxtapose 2 things and it forces a conclusion. You invert, revert, convert, reversal, inversion, right? We're trying to figure out and produce this definition. Slang, take away the L, sang. Sensorality, sang. We're looking for this past tense, or at least this complete, stabilized portion of sensorality that definitively establishes our definition. What's the past tense of sing? Sang, sung. All right, a very good elicitation of language is chronological. It goes in order. Stuff happens in order, and then we talk about those things that have happened. And so past tense, present tense, future tense makes no sense. Things that have happened and are set that can't change, and then things that haven't happened at all and we're trying to predict or anticipate. And so our analysis produces anticipation. But what is sang to sung? Just highlighting what we just talked about. Restatement of the fundamental theorem of logic, decidability is deducibility. We talked about that last episode, but I wanted to make that specific. Right? If you can't prove something true, if it's decidable, you can deduce it, because all of derivation is deduction. There's a big world around us with all this information, and we're, again, deriving, analyzing, and then realizing is the order of the verbiage. What is sensorality to memorality? What is censoring to memoring? So again, very clear how linguistically we derive down that sensorality, sensors, and that's kind of the big operation that we're figuring out. Censoring, I have senses with an S, my microwave does not have senses with an S, and then when I say click and I press heat, it says sensor with an S. That's not consistent, it's wrong. And so we're showing that progression. But sensorality, censoring, memorality, memoring. Sensorality is memoring. Sensorality is memorally, right? Sensorily, memorally. Musicality increases memorability, right? You go listen to a jingle. Let's think of one. 1-800-SERVICE. I think that was Atlas Butler. Atlas Butler just popped into my head. It was easy to remember Atlas Butler because it was put to rhythm, right? And it's efficient. Rhythm increases efficiency. That's what you're doing when you're producing a jingle. But musicality increases memorability. So now here's a big poignant connection. Memorality is memorable. And so when you have that form memorable, which I stuttered over here in this derivation, it's not a form of memory. Like the linguistic derivation, what I was saying at the beginning of this episode, this is the most poignant connection right here. This word that we naturally derived, and I've already derived it before, memorality, produces the direct linguistic form memorable by modifying that ending suffix, right? You just take the ality, and then you take off the L, anything past the L, and then you just add and make it BLE. So it's a direct logical connection, again, validating memorality as, again, a true word form, because it's the direct logical linguistic thing to derive memorable from. And anybody saying that was very memorable, you're not using a word form of memory. It's of memorality. Big facts. Sensorable is memorable. So now we connect our axiom to that fact. Sensorality is censorable. And so now, sensorable. Remember, way back when we conjectured this back to our numeric limits, these prime numbers is really a reflection of irreducibility. And all of these word forms that we've worked through, sensoritality, sourcinality, they're all real. They're just, again, because of some sort of linguistic symmetry, they reduce in the same way you don't have any even prime numbers. And so sensorable has 4 syllables. That's very poignant to point out. But additionally, it's our natural definition of sensorality. It's not specific enough, but we have to be really close. And it connects, again, directly logically by iterating the M from memorable to S, sensorable. Now remember, the S at this point is not a specific letter. It's an iteration element. In the same way you see ciencia in Spanish and then science in English, it's just an iteration of the consonants and the letters representing those consonants. And so we've directly calculated, or derived, again, not calculated, but derived, sensorality is sensorable, and that's its natural definition. So sensorality is sensorability. Sensorability is the ability to censor, proving it again with the S. We've proven the spelling way back when. You can go look up that episode, it was a poignant one. But now we've derived sensorability is the ability to censor. And again, remember this syllability, ability, getting it into that form is like, that is what you differentiate is ability, right? Functionality is differentiation of ability. And so huge, massive, I mean, this would be the biggest logical result, again, to date. Last big logical result was renormalizing to essentiality. And we kind of, essentially showed how that's not, again, we just took out the essential, we went through all that derivation, but now we've completely derived sensorability is the ability to censor, which is derivative from sensorality. And we've shown every bit of connecting logic for that. My rights continue to be violated. It is profoundly illegal. All I've been asking for is a little bit of money this entire time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.